Hello everyone, I Anu Dhariwal welcome you all to the class. In our previous session, we were discussing History Chapter 8 from your NCERT textbook titled How, When and Where. We discussed a few topics like history, meaning of history, and we talked about James Rennie and what part did he play in the British East India Company. Let us move ahead with the chapter, continuing with the topic that is Britannica or the East India Company. English East India Company formed for the exploitation of trade with East and Southeast Asia and India. So it was formed for the exploitation of trade with East and Southeast Asia and India. What do we mean by exploitation of trade? It means to make full use of or derive full benefit out of it. Incorporated by Royal Charter on December 31, 1600. There was also a Royal Charter that was issued on December 31, 1600. What do we understand by Royal Charter? It means a formal document issued by a monarch. And what is the use of a Royal Charter? It grants a right or power to an individual or a body. British East India Company started as a monopolistic trading body. Monopolistic means relating to a person or business that has exclusive control of the supply or trade in a service. The company became involved in politics and acted as an agent of British imperialism in India from the early 18th century to the mid 19th century. By British imperialism, we refer to a policy of extending a country's power and influence through colonization. The activities of the company in China in the 19th century also served as a catalyst for the expansion of British influence there. Look at the picture given here. This picture shows official of East India Company riding in an Indian procession. Now what do we understand by a procession? It means a number of people or vehicles moving forward in an orderly fashion. History is referred to span of time. We cannot determine a specific date when British rule was started as it happened over a span of time. Now, why do we consider history as a span of time? Because we do not have a specific date or an accurate date when the British rule started in India. It happened over a span of time. There were gradual changes that took place and led to the British rule in India. Similarly, we developed a taste of drinking tea over a period of time. See the advertisement on the right? It says, famous all over the world, Lipton's coffee and teas. Now children, this old advertisement help us understand how markets for new products were created and new tastes were popularized. This 1922 advertisement for Lipton tea suggests that royalty all over the world is associated with this tea. That whosoever drinks this tea will be considered as a royal person. In the background, you see the outer wall of an Indian palace, while in the foreground, seated on horseback, is the third son of Queen Victoria of Britain, Prince Arthur, who was given the title Duke of Connaught. Let's talk about past versus present state of history. Earlier history was associated with string of dates. That means most of the history was just a string of dates. This was because history used to keep a track of battles and big events. At present, history is a wider concept which includes how and what concepts. For example, how people earned their livelihood, what did they produce and eat, etc. Now there is a criteria to select a set of dates. Date becomes important when we assume that a particular set of events are important. By what criteria do we choose a set of dates as important? The dates we select, the dates around which we compose our story of the past, are not important on their own. They become vital because we focus on a particular set of events as important. If our focus of study changes, if we begin to look at new issues, a new set of dates will appear significant. Consider an example. In the histories written by British historians in India, the rule of each governor general was important. Most of the history in India was written by British historians. These historians started writing with the rule of the first Governor General Warren Hastings and ended with the last Viceroy Lord Mountbatten. Now, we'll be discussing about Governor General Warren Hastings in detail in our next class. Talking about the dates, when we write history or a story, we divide it into chapters. Why do we do this? It is to tell a story in a new way that makes some sense and can be followed. In the process, we focus only on those events that help us to give shape to the story we are telling. In the histories that revolve around the life of British Governor Generals, the activities of Indians simply do not fit. They have no space. What then? What do we do? Clearly, we need another format for our history. This would mean that the old dates will no longer have the significance they earlier had. A new set of dates will become more important for us to know. With these words, I would like to conclude the class for today. We'll see you with a new topic in the next class. Till then, take care.